Okay, I have a 2021 Tesla Model S Performance. It comes with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. Those are a performance tire. They're guaranteed for about 20,000 miles. And I changed these tires at 20,000 miles, a little late. The wear was abnormal. Very common to hear this about Teslas, where the wear is abnormal, especially on the rears. And this one is certainly no exception. Let's look a little closer at these tires. The way these tires are set up right here is exactly how they are on the car. The front of the car, the farthest away. So on the right, we have the worst tire. Now mine isn't so bad as some I've seen, but it's very close to going through down to the cords. And no, I was not good. I have not been rotating the tires as I should have. And I can see I'm showing 532s on this side. And if I go over to the other side, I'm showing about the same. Okay, so up until the edge of the tire, where there is no tread at all, the wear is not excessive. I'm showing, if I go out here on this edge, I'm showing about 430 seconds. Okay, this tire, if it hadn't been for this inside wear, I would not be ready for replacement yet. But this inside wear has finished this tire. Okay, I wanted to look at one of the other tires on this car, and that's this one. This is the left rear, and it's got plenty of tread left, but if you notice, this tire is a replacement tire. I had a flat tire, was not repairable, and so we had to replace the tire. This tire has probably less than 4,000 miles on it. And yet, if I go to this outside, I have about 230 seconds. That is the wear limit on that tire. If I go to the other side, I've got about 530 seconds. So this tire is beginning to wear abnormally also. Looking at the front tires, they have also worn on the inside. Now their wear, overall wear, is much more than on the rear tire that has been on there the longest. They have quite a bit of wear on them, but they've also worn on the inside. So when I saw the wear on these tires, I thought, well, let's see what we can do. Find out what the alignment, get a four-wheel alignment in this thing, and find out what's going on. This car has 20,000 miles on it, so there shouldn't be a lot of wear on the suspension. I'm going to try to give you an idea of what I think is causing the wear in these tires. You know, tires when they sit on the ground are not necessarily just perpendicular to the ground. There's a number of different reasons for that from the suspension. But let's kind of get an idea. Now this tire wore excessively on this side. So if this was the axle in between, this tire would probably be like this. This one would also be like this, but this one is much more. Okay, that would make, I mean, this is obviously exaggerated. This could make this tire wear that way. But there's another way. That's a camera. But there's another way that causes wear on these tires. And that's toe in or toe out. And I'll show you the results of the four-wheel alignment on this car a little later. There's what's called toe in and toe out. Toe in is if the tires are like that. Now, believe it or not, that's a good thing. Toe in tends to make the car a little more stable. If they were toe out like that, the tendency would be for the car to wander a little. When they're pointing together, they are tending to make the car stay on its own, on the track it's on. The results of the alignment were that instead of these things being towed in a little bit like that, this one was okay. This one was towed out. So if I had it, that's about what that would look like. So that's towed out. And then you say it's like this too. So it's towed out and it's pulling like that. Okay, it's going to try to pull the car over that way. I didn't really notice any abnormality with the car in tracking, but I don't know that I would from the rear. But this tire, when it's turning, it's not just turning, it's scraping. It's scooting along this piece here. That bottom part is going to try to scoot. It's going to scratch across the rubber, and it's going to wear it faster. I hope that makes sense, because as this tire rolls, it's going to be trying to pull the car over, and it can't really pull the car over, so it's going to wear heavily on this side. It's almost like the brakes are on. So, I don't know if that makes as much sense as I'd like it to make, but I think that's what happened. What I wanted to do now is I was going to show you what the results of the alignment were and compare them to the wear on these tires. I should preface this with I'm not an auto mechanic. I've been working in cars forever, but I'm not a professional auto mechanic. And I wanted to try to interpret some of the alignment readings. When you look at the wear on those tires, the rear tires seem to have the worst inside tire wear. The front ones actually had more wear on the tires overall, and they had more wear on the inside of the tires, but not excessive like the rear tires were. Okay, the alignment specs, they were the rear tires were out of toe. They were out of camber too, but you can't adjust the camber on those Teslas. The toe was incorrect. The tires were pointing out on both sides of the car. And if you look on the right side, you'll see they show camber on top, and it's got a specified range, but the actual is out of spec. On both the right and the left-hand side, they're out of spec. The toe on the right side is far worse. If you look at the toe, the specified range is 0.04 to 0.34 positive. Okay, it was negative 0.45. That's a long way off. Now they were able to adjust that, and they got it to 0.09. Now that tells me that if you put together the camber being out of range, and then you add in the toe pointing out, the tires pointing out, that tire especially pointing out, I think that's where the wear pattern, where it came from. Now on the left side, again, the camber's non-adjustable, and when they were finished, it actually was a little bit better than when they started, and it wasn't real far. It wasn't as far out as the other side was, and the toe, instead of being a negative 0.45, was a negative 0.20. Now both those are out of spec because it should have been positive 0.04 to positive 3.4. They were able to get the toe back into spec to 0.14. With these adjustments, will that eliminate the inside tire wear altogether, or will it mitigate it? It has to mitigate it some, because that was quite a ways out of whack. So what do we do next? I've just put new tires on it. I put Michelin Cross Climate 2s on it. They're an all-weather tire. I'm going to show you the measurements here on the on those tires because they're brand new right now, and I'm going to be watching these really close, and I will be rotating them probably every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. But I think we're still going to have a problem. I still think they're going to wear out on the inside. And in fact, the front tires wore out on the inside too. And they were not able to bring those into spec. And so we'll see how the front tires wear. But I'm going to keep a really close eye on these, and I'm going to report back when this happens. It appears to me, and because I've been driving the car for 20,000 miles, I can't blame Tesla for all this. I kind of do anyway, but because I seldom have this happen on cars. This is pretty unusual. And the Tesla service center, they kind of just say, well, they always wear on the inside. I don't really consider that to be an answer, because they should not wear on the inside. I've never had a car do that before. That it just consistently, all the tires wore out on the inside. Maybe some of you have seen it, and some of you have more experience with this. Love to hear comments on that. But I think I'm going to be able to mitigate this somewhat with this alignment if it stays in line. I'm going to be watching these tires really close to see how they wear. I actually think there is a problem with Tesla's design of this suspension system. I just don't think this is what should happen. It was far enough out of spec that I can't just say, well, that was all Tesla's fault. I mean, it did drive the car. I think I hit a curb, a real light hit on a curb one time. But other than that, I haven't really had much damage done that I know of. And of course, I bought the car new. So we'll see how this works out. And I, like probably a lot of other people, will be checking to see if this happens again. So that's it on this one for now.